for me, so thank you so much for your time and allowing me to testify today. My name is Kodi Wilson. I'm here representing families who are on the waiver. None of us want to pay new taxes, but we know that these are desperate times and we need to raise new revenue. And this is a way to do that. My husband, Brad, and I, along with our children, Braden, he is a now recipient. He's on a ventilator. And our adopted daughter live in Baton Rouge. In 2005, when we evacuated for Hurricane Katrina, we found out we would be having a child. And most of you can relate to the joy and excitement of that, and I thought I was going to be raising an Olympian. But when our son was born, after more tests than we could count, 28 days later, we were sent home from the NICU with a feeding tube and a very uncertain future. No answer as to what was wrong. And our world changed in an instant, and it was totally unexpected. The first year, with good medical insurance, we had $20,000 out-of-pocket medical expenses. Special formula, equipment. Like every parent, we were up to every 2 to 3 hours feeding. But with my child, we were also up in the middle of the night to save his life via suction or resuscitation. And it's been this way for 9 years. Imagine having a newborn for 9 years that you have to get up in the middle of the night and consistently save his life every day. We've been care flighted to Texas Children's Hospital in attempts to save his life at 4 months old. We had multiple pneumonias that left his life hanging in the balance, bedside surgeries for a collapsed lung, surgery for an implant because we almost lost him after 22 needle sticks nearly lost his life, and we spent nearly 11 months of his first 2 years living in the hospital. Our life was centered around saving his life, getting him to doctor's appointments, specialists, therapists, learning medical procedures, acronyms, and fighting insurance companies and providers in over thousands of dollars in medical billing errors. There was never any time to just be a mom. Was barely holding down a job. 40 daycares turned us away. So I hired a part-time nanny to try and make it work. The financial strain kept growing, the medical bills were piling up, and we were lucky to find another medical mama to take care of our son so I could work. There was no time for the marital relationship, only time to play doctor, nurse, therapist, clinician, bill negotiator, private detective, and accountant for our son. In 2008, we huddled in a closet during Hurricane Gustav. We resuscitated our son 16 times. 2 days after the storm, we went to the lake, and my son was admitted for a tracheostomy surgery. It was at that time he received a diagnosis of Lee's disease, a rare neurometabolic disorder affecting the central nervous system that essentially eats away at his brain. There is no cure, and we were told he was already on borrowed time. Essentially, he's a pillow angel. A ventilator breathes for him, he's on oxygen, a heart rate monitor, uses 3 other machines, has a feeding tube, is nonverbal, cannot walk, cannot stand, takes over 31 medications a day, and all daily activities like bathing must be done for him. We had applied for waiver services at birth, put on a waiting list. We appealed the denial for services, stating we didn't have 10 years to wait. My son was going to die. After multiple appeals and appearance in front of a judge, my son was granted an emergency slot on the now waiver at 3.5 years old, and it was life-changing. We have gone from over 15 to 20 admits a year to the hospital to less than 3 per year since being on the waiver. Today, only 1 admit in the past 4 years. Our next hospital admit will be number 73, just at Our Lady of the Lake alone. Because of the love and care he receives from his nursing staff, he is healthy and alive. He continues to teach those who know about him and know him about compassion, empathy, diversity, and offers a true perspective for those who know our family. Now, I just get to be his mom. Excuse me. To love on him, to run my fingers through his hair, and read to him. He knows I'm no longer a clinician and therapist. I can go to work without fear of losing my job. I'd spent so much time in the hospital with my son. If we lost the waiver, it would drastically affect my family. If we lost home nursing, I'd be forced to quit my job and take care of my son until we could find jobs in another state, a state that provides better service for the pediatric community for individuals with disabilities. Until then, my entire family would have to, thank you, apply for food stamps and other state assistance. We cannot survive on one state employee's salary to support our family. That's my husband. We have 3 degrees between the two of us, and living on welfare is not an acceptable life for us, given what we have built and worked for. Why would you take working parents out of the workforce and create an even larger problem? For us, these issues really are about life and death. I'm sorry for being so emotional. We're not talking about privileges or entitlements here. We're talking about the real toll of cutting these programs. The lives of Louisiana citizens, like my son Braden. Please find additional revenue to save our state's 11,688 most vulnerable citizens on the 4 waiver programs. Thousands of people with developmental disabilities and their families rely on these services daily, and thousands more are in desperate situations waiting to receive them. To lose them would be devastating and in many cases life-threatening. We need your support. I hope that you think less about the agendas of lobbyists, lawyers, and special interests, and have the courage to use your vote to save human lives instead, because that's what's at stake here. And I'll just say, a sales tax at the pump doesn't leave the burden completely on Louisiana citizens. It also includes interstate and tourism travel. And I know that I can personally afford $2 to $3 a gallon, and it won't break my monthly budget. You know, a few years ago we were paying $4 a gallon, and that hurt. But $2 to $3 is affordable. So I just thank you for listening today, and I'm open to any questions you may have.
Ms. Wilson, thank you for coming. Thank you for testifying before the committee. There are no questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you, committee.
Also have a card in support, does not wish to speak from Brad Ott. Members, that clears the board. Did we have a few more questions for Representative Jackson? No. Members, we'll go ahead and Representative Stokes is at the table. Do you want to briefly explain the difference between yours and Representative Jackson's, because we'll get to yours after Representative Jackson's?
Actually, I have a change of plan. I would prefer at this time to voluntarily defer my bill in favor of Representative Jackson and Senator Barrow's bill.